no matter what. Get health care for who have not. The Foreign Relations Committee can attest to its tenacity for homeland and job security. He stood his ground when the war was a conception. Said it was wrong.
Okay, welcome to Ideas at Work and Beyond. Marty Heiser, welcome to Ideas at Work and Beyond.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Hi, Ivan.
Miss Helena, thank you for coming back.
Good to see you.
You have become a regular on the show. Thank you. And you will be a regular on the show from now on.
Yes,
I will. Thank you very
much.
much. And I know that you have a wealth of knowledge to share with the community.
We need a flower among the thorns, don't you agree? Okay, sorry, we'll get right into it.
I think it's funny.
I know.
So
I think it's accurate.
We're going to give him a beat down today.
I think it's accurate.
Okay, well, the topic of tonight is the city clerk. Again, the city, Natale appeared in front of the Charter Revision Commission last Monday, which is June 23rd, to talk about her position, what the city clerk does. We're supposed to show you clips of that. We're going to talk about that. She made statements that need to be corrected. So we're going to have fun. I want to tell the audience that, look, I personally don't hate Natale, and I don't think anybody here hates the lady.
Oh, she's a very nice lady.
She's a very nice lady. And all we're going to do is just talk about the position. That's it. Jean, you know, I love you. I have nothing against you, etc. And I can still love you and still talk about your position. That's all it is. But before we do that, you have some updates you want to share with us?
The senator from Connecticut, Senator Dodd, I don't know if we can get a shot of this. He's in a bit of trouble. Apparently he got special treatment while getting a mortgage. His explanation of the situation was that he got special treatment because, after all, he was a good customer of, I believe it was a Nationwide mortgage company. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was the ranking senator on an appropriations or banking committee that allowed for him to oversee, I think, $50 million worth of mortgages. So Senator Dodd has a little explaining to do. But frankly, Senator Dodd has been the senator of Connecticut for years, and his father was before that, so I don't think he's in any real trouble. But it's interesting to see him try to talk about this. He's
also a very good man. He's done a lot of work, and he's been down in this area many, many times to visit with. He was actually just at
the
chamber.
But you cannot dismiss the fact that he's in trouble right now, whether he's a good guy or not. It seems to me that the longer you stay in the politicians, the more you get to somehow swim with the sharks.
Some people do that much sooner than others, and there should be some term limits with some of these candidates, because they become so comfortable in their position that they forget who actually votes them in and the people that support them and want things done in their community.
Yeah, I mean, the example that I would contrast this with is Governor Rowland. I mean, here Governor Rowland had some work done on his cottage on a lake, had a hot tub put in, had some whatever else done, and it cost him his entire political career. It brought him right down.
A guy who should have been,
but he got a very good job.
The potential to be the president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess it's a word. I mean, we're going to be talking a little bit about the city clerk's job and what she does. When you run for office and you're dealing with the taxpayers' money, there's an awesome responsibility that goes along with it. If you want to lead a nice, quiet life and not make waves and not have people second-guessing you at every stage, not have people going into what mortgages you did or didn't get, not have people asking who paid for your hot tubs, don't run for public office.
True.
If you're going to run for public office, just realize it's a contact sport. And there's folks like you and Al Robinson and everyone else looking around trying to find stuff. And
me?
Well, I mean, like this show. I mean, we're poor Jean Natale, city clerk of the city of Danbury, just humbly trying to go about her work, and we're gonna have a whole show about her.
Guess what? The irony is this: she's a sweet lady.
Well,
If
I
you
mean,
meet
we're
her
going to get into it,
personally-
but we're talking about, hey, I was
you
there at
meet-
9, no one was there. Let's, you know, have a...
If you meet her
public,
personally, you would
burn.
love this lady. She's a sweet lady, but you know,
I've seen her on
I mean,
TV. She seems very
The
nice.
position is the position. You can't dismiss that.
Well, anyway, so we have from U.S. senators to the city clerk of the city of Danbury, all are being held to account here at Ideas and Work and Beyond.
Accountability. That's what we need here.
Well,
Brutal. It's brutal, but it has to be done.
I would like to say something positive before we get into the issue
Okay,
of the city
go
clerk. Yesterday, I was down in towards Hartford, Windsor Locks at Bradley Airport, and I will tell you, they have the most outstanding staff in that location that you could ever meet in your entire life. I was very surprised, since I've been to many airports. We do quite a bit of traveling to Europe and some other places. And I was amazed. My son yesterday left for Fort Benning in Georgia. And as soon as we walked into that airport, one of the security people came up to us, introduced herself to my son, thanked him for serving.
Wow.
And we went to get his ticket. I got a pass to be able to go with him until he left. And she took us right in through security, and we went right in. And then the people that were coming up to him and shaking his hand, it just made me cry to see how many outstanding people there are within our community.
And he was
we
in
forget
uniform.
about, yes, he was in uniform, yes.
101st Airborne.
Yes, he's going in for a month of training, and he'll be back to go back to college in the fall, and then when he graduates in 2 years, he'll be serving in the armed forces.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And your son is also...
Yeah, I mean, now
academy, right?
he's nowhere at the level of where her son is, as far as, you know, right? I assume he's going to be shipped out eventually, right?
Yes.
There's a good chance he'll be either in Afghanistan or Iraq.
He'll be a second lieutenant when he graduates
Wow.
from the University of New Haven, and he just loves it. It's something that he really wants to do. He wants to support this country, and I'm very proud of him. I'm also very scared, but I'm
Yeah.
very proud of him.
Well, that is incredibly commendable. You know, I think, well, my son just got a Navy ROTC scholarship, so we're pretty excited about that. But share your concerns, too. As a parent, you know, you're concerned about it. But, you know, I just want to take a moment to compare literally the treatment of men and women in the armed forces in airports today as compared to the Vietnam era.
Yes.
Where there were statements, testimony after testimony, of veterans that came back after serving their country in Vietnam, and they were literally spit upon in the airport.
And that's
Quite a contrast. Now, how you feel about the war in Iraq, how you feel about the war in Afghanistan, how you feel about our commander-in-chief is one thing.
Correct.
But the support of the young men and women that are going and putting themselves in harm's way to defend our freedoms has to be across political lines, across the board. And I'm just touched by the response that your son got in the airport, and I think it's fantastic.
And it's nice. I mean, it's nice to see people acting in a different way than I've seen within our community lately.
Yeah.
So it was just an unbelievable feeling, and it just made you want to cry. I did cry with him leaving. I don't know what I'm going to do in 2 years when he really leaves.
I saw you yesterday. You were
Upset.
Out of it. You were out of it. Like, what's wrong? You were out of it. Congratulations to both of you.
Thanks.
Wow.
Congratulations to both of you, and you know, the best of luck to.
Well, they've worked
You
hard,
boys.
so
Yeah.
it's their congratulations. They've worked very hard.
Good. Well, let's get down to Jean Natale, the city clerk, and of course
Gene Natale.
the topic is city clerk should resign. And again, I asked that question last show. Do you think she should resign?
Well, you know what? I think it's better. I know that the little bits are coming in just a minute for us to show what had happened at the Charter Commission meeting, Charter Revision Commission meeting. And it's good if you hear some of the comments that she made, and then we can respond to them, and then people can literally decide what they think of the position and exactly some of the things that were stated. Because I think that we have to have an open government. I think we have to provide as much information to the public as possible for them to make an educated decision on what they want to happen in the city. There was a comment that was made, which we'll probably see in a little while, that we shouldn't publish the ordinances in the newspaper anymore. Well, I'm sorry, but it's an ordinance in the city, which is 13-10, publication of ordinances, and also it's a state statute. So I was a little concerned with that statement. If you're going to make a statement like that, make sure that you can actually do that. But the public has a right to know. Not everyone has a computer to read it on computer.
Actually, her concern was that it costs too much money to publish the ordinances in the paper. She wants to reduce the cost.
Well, that's a good thing.
Right. So, is she asking the commissioners to break the law?
Well, it seemed that way. It seemed that way. The law is the law. You have to provide that information to the public. You have to give them that information so they can read it. You don't necessarily, I don't go on the computer to read the public notices. I actually get the newspaper and read the public notices in the newspaper.
Now, we have to see the tape again. And I believe she also mentioned like alternatives, like the Tribuna.
Why would, I don't understand why that would even be mentioned. Why would you put a Portuguese-speaking newspaper to publish the ordinances when you don't want to put it in the News Times when it's the most circulated newspaper in the city of Danbury? I was a little confused about that.
It's still trying to get around.
The public needs to know. Provide that information. Everyone has to be able to read that. It doesn't have to be in another language. It has to be in English.
Okay.
To answer the question, there is no way that Jean Natale should ever even think about resigning. I watched the show from last week. The two criticisms that the citizens in the Charter Review Commission that you filmed, one was, hey, I get to town hall at 8:30 in the morning, and it really bothers me that the office isn't open at 8:30. That's what the lady said. Well, you had the assistant city clerk call in and say, I'm there just before 9 o'clock. I open the doors, I turn on the lights, and everyone at this table wasn't here, didn't come in.
Wait.
I'm just saying, that was the one criticism.
Okay, the assistant city clerk works 19 hours a week.
Okay.
So every day, before 9 o'clock, she's there in the morning?
All I can tell you is the criticism that was presented in the previous show was from one citizen that said, I believe her words were, granted, it's 8:30 in the morning, but I would really like to have someone at the city clerk's office because that's when I come in to get information. The other lady said her problem was that she was having trouble getting a printed copy of the town budget. And I can tell you, printed copies of the budget, hopefully, you know, they're available. I know in Ridgefield, I think we printed up like 20 copies, and one was picked up. And it's an incredible expense to print all these things up. So I don't think Jean Natale in any way should even consider resigning. She's doing a very difficult job. You had the job, so you know how difficult it is.
Oh, yes, I do.
You know, it's an elected position, so what we talked about beforehand, don't run for office if you don't want to be criticized. So let's have at it, let's criticize her. But should she be fired? Should she resign? I don't think it rises to the level of impeachment.
No,
to quote a Democratic.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the issues that she's bringing up are a concern to me. The public needs information.
I agree. The
public
needs
has
information.
to vote.
Okay, real quick.
I agree. Get all the information out there as much as you can.
The assistant city clerk, what's her name?
Mary or something.
Mary Foley? Mm-hmm. Okay, Mary Foley.
Former secretary to the mayor, I understand.
Mayor, exactly. Now, how did she get that job?
Former secretary to the mayor. Did you hear what we just said?
Actually, that position is supposed to be a civil service position. That's how it always was. Okay. You'd have to take an exam, and the top candidates would be selected. It would go before the council, and that person would be hired to the position of the assistant city clerk. So it is a civil service position.
Now,
19 hours a week?
Well,
now,
I don't know what they did with it now, but it was a civil service position.
Now, who's supposed to hire this person? Boughton, Joe Calvo, or the city council?
The way that the city clerk was hired before is she took the exam. Mm-hmm. She was the top of the candidates for that position. In turn, her name was submitted to the council with the resume, and she was appointed
by the council.
She was approved to be the assistant city clerk by the council.
Now, do we know for a fact that Mary Foley was appointed
I don't know that.
By the city council, and also she took the exam and she got the top score, right?
I don't know.
We don't know that. So we need to know, this is public information, we need to find out if she took the test, we need to find out if she was the highest, she had the highest score, and we need to find out also if she was appointed by the common council, because if she is not, somebody is violating the charter. So we need to find out. We need to go back.
It's not necessarily the charter. It was a civil service position. That's different. It's different type of hiring. You're basically protected through unions and
yeah,
things.
but see, it's a process, right?
Yes, there is a process.
So she should have gone through the process.
I don't know that she didn't go through the process.
So we need to find out. Oh, okay, we have a phone call. Caller, your name.
Christine Paul.
Caller.
I just wanted to say that I really like your show.
Thank you.
Very informational.
Thank you.
And Christine Paul, I wish you guys a good night and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it. Thank you. Oh, very informative. Okay, so we need to find out how Mary Foley got this position, because she called
Yes, she did.
last week to defend the position of the city clerk.
Well,
it's not so much.
I watched
It
the
wasn't
show.
so much defending.
I watched the show. It's on Hat City blog,
Yes,
by
it
the way,
is.
if you want to watch. Also with some vintage footage of George Carlin. But anyways, and basically the comment was, hey, the office isn't open, the office isn't open. She called in and said she opens it, she unlocks it, she turns on the lights.
The office is not open all the time. That I can tell you. I've been up to City Hall several times, and there are times that office is not open, quite a few times. And, you know, the thing is, that office, if someone needs information, I know that comments were made that the only calls that come in are people that are looking for the
town clerk,
for the
not the
clerk
city
for the clerk of the court. Yes, I did receive many of those calls when I was in
I called the
City
office
Hall.
today, and they have an outgoing recorded message. You've reached the city clerk. If you're looking for the town clerk, call here. If you're looking for the clerk of the courts, call here. It seems like there's a lot of
No, you do. You get a lot of calls, but also, I mean, you have to be there so that the public has access to you when they want to put something on the agenda for the Common Council to review. That's important.
Yeah.
It's the liaison between the public, the council members, the legislative body of the city, and any of the department heads that need to provide information.
How many hours a week did you work when you were in the city council?
I was there, but I was also there a little bit earlier too. So.
So you would arrive earlier than 9 o'clock. I mean,
leaving there. The assistant city clerk was there all the time. She worked full time, and I would usually come in about 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, we have a call. We have a call, guys. Caller in there.
Yeah, I hear you guys talking about this city clerk. You guys have the footage of it? Or what?
Yes, we will. We will show it
Just a few
soon,
minutes.
okay?
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, thank you. You know what she said, right? You were the city clerk. Now, Jean Natale said, and people will see this clip. She said her statement that she is the only city clerk in 40 years to do the job right. According to the charter.
Now that's a shot right across the bow there.
Not only did the thing I don't understand is this is her third term. How come right now she's the city clerk doing her job and not the past 2 terms?
No, she said since she got elected.
No, she did not.
She has been doing the job for 40 years.
No, that's not. The comment was that in the last 6 months, approximately, I would say this past year, is when she finally was able to do her job. Because Jametta had left her position, the assistant city clerk, and then she had to take over and learn the position.
There are 2 ladies. She mentioned 2 ladies' names. Do you remember those ladies?
I don't offhand.
Betty?
Yes, she did mention Betty,
and she mentioned George.
No, George was in the Registrar of Voters office with her.
Okay. So she, and they both are dead.
No, George is not dead.
Mary is dead, right? Mary passed away, right? I believe,
yes.
No, Betty.
We're going over on television.
We better
get this right.
A little bit.
Betty passed away. Yeah, Betty is gone. So all I'm saying is
she was a very
I'm
nice
sure
lady.
there's a point here somewhere.
See,
what is the point?
The point is for this lady to
this job.
Well,
to go on
before the commission.
Right, public statement to basically, she stated that in 40 years no one has done the job.
Well, let me tell you.
Until she came in. I think she owed an apology to the family of this deceased lady.
Betty was a very wonderful lady, and she would do anything for anyone if they came into City Hall. That is a fact. Betty was a very good person. Her family is very involved in this community, and she was always a person that gave 100% to the community.
So you know what?
And I take offense
I think it was
too.
a personal attack on you because you did the job, and she's saying that nobody has done it in 40 years.
Well, she didn't even. My name wasn't even mentioned, but it basically was an attack on me.
I mean, you were within those 40 years, right?
Yes, I was. Right before she was the city clerk, I was the city clerk. I took that office. The day I went into that office, I was very surprised. I didn't have a computer in that office. So I went to Mr. McLaughlin and I asked him for a computer so that I could do some work in that office. And I did get a computer the next day.
Was it like a Rolodex or something like that?
No.
Did you have like a crank pencil sharpener?
So I got a computer in that office.
Okay, I think they're about to roll some of the clips from Jean Natale. So, guys, just roll that.
By the way, while we're queuing that up, you mentioned Joe Cavo. Thumbs up to Joe Cavo. Let me just put this little interlude in there.
Oh, the hell.
Thumbs up to the civilian who came to the aid of Danbury police officer Roger Hancock when he was trying to subdue a suspected drug dealer near Kennedy Park. A crowd gathered and 3 people stepped forward to help.
There is no doubt that Joe Cavo is a brave guy.
Common Council President Joe Cavo.
There is no doubt that the guy is a brave guy.
That's a wonderful thing.
That is incredible.
He deserves all the credit.
Yes, he does.
You can tell a lot about a man in a moment of crisis, and he stepped forward. Joe Cavo.
Mr. Visconti had done that also recently. That took someone out of a burning building.
Excellent.
All right, caller, you're in the air.
Yes, I'd like to speak with Helena. Helena?
Yes.
Yes, Helena. My neighbor knows you, and she was telling me that you took a job at WestCon, and you used to leave City Hall every afternoon to go to WestCon to work.
Actually,
she's there every day and does her job into the night.
Thank you.
Actually, let me tell you about that. I was there for a whole 2 weeks, and actually I was at City Hall also. I was gone from City Hall for approximately 2 hours for 2 weeks, and I made up any time that I wasn't at City Hall for those 2 hours because basically I wasn't allowed to do what I needed to do in my position.
Well, here we go. This is a deadly format because there's people out there, and you were the city clerk, and you also worked at WestCon.
Actually, and you know what's funny is when I first took that office, I was approached by the mayor's office and asked if I would consider teaching a class in Portuguese to some of the department heads, like the fire marshal's department, the building department, etc., all the permits people, so that they could communicate with members of the community. And after 4:30, when everybody was to go home, we would go upstairs into the conference room, and I would sit down with them, and we did this for approximately 8 weeks, and I taught them certain words so that they could communicate with people that were coming in.
The time you missed at City Hall, you made up for.
I more than made up for it.
More than made up for it because you're a professional, conscientious person.
Try to be.
Okay. I would expect nothing less. And by the way, you did some translating for that ICE meeting as well, just recently.
Yes, they called me.
And you can spontaneously translate from English to Portuguese and back.
Yes, I've done that in the
Very
court
impressive.
several times.
It's almost like
we have another
United
call.
Nations.
Caller in the air.
Did you see Helena at any other jobs, or do you have something else there?
Hi, it's Maggie Dean, and I'm calling because I am actually know Jametta Smaha, and Jametta actually told people that you used to leave City Hall every day and that she ran the office. So I know this guy's probably going to hang up because he doesn't want anybody to criticize you or say anything against the Democrats. But isn't this kind of an interesting thing that, it's okay to criticize Jean Natale, but not you?
This lady doesn't know me.
First,
you need to watch the show, okay?
You can just circle the wagon around Helena a little bit here. Helena, you got some explaining to do. Go right ahead.
That's fine. Actually, the city clerk goes to events throughout the city, just as the mayor, just as the treasurer, and just as the town clerk. They are elected officials. They're expected to attend lots of events within City Hall. And A person tries to do the best job they can when they can do it and when they're allowed to do it. When people become isolated, you do the best you can, and I helped a lot of people at City Hall. They would come upstairs into my office, I would go to other departments with them, I would help them connect to different people. So, you know,
I think what you're saying is, as a city clerk, there isn't a punch-in clock necessarily.
No, there isn't.
As a matter of fact, you would be not doing your job to the best of your ability if you weren't out in the community, making yourself accessible, being involved, and knowing what was going on. I think that's what you're saying.
Yes, and also I took part in the program where you went into the school system and were a mentor for students, which the mayor had asked the employees to do that, and once a week I would go and mentor.
That brings us back to Natale, which it seems like the preponderance of what we're talking about here is, my goodness, I was there at 8:30 and no one was there, off with their head.
No,
and that seems like a bit of a leap to me.
It has nothing to do with that. My issue is, why are we going to do away with the ordinances? Why don't we want to publish the ordinances in the newspaper? It's required by law to do that. Some of the issues that she brought up are a concern to me because that's not the way things are done. There are rules, there's the charter, there's the ordinances, there's the state statutes that you have to follow.
Well,
okay, well, we have to roll the clips then.
Absolutely. Let's go to the videotape.
Okay.
We will have a discussion with Jean Natale, City Clerk in the City of Danbury. So let's start with you, Jean. Yes.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Thanks.
I'd like to begin by probably apologizing. It seems like I should have been here quite a few months ago. That evening I got sick, but during the course of the months that progressed, I just wanted to clear up with you and don't want you to think that I was trying to blow you off. Okay, fine. It seems like somewhere along the line I've been taking criticism about not coming here, but just so you know, until you called, this is my first formal request to come back, and I'm really thrilled to be here. If you don't mind, I've prepared some written material.
Absolutely.
Hard to believe that I can be shy at times, but I am. So I'll start by beginning to say that this is my I'm into my third term as city clerk. And for the first time in over 40 years, the city clerk is doing the job as specified by the charter. Just to give you some history, I think Mr. Levy had touched on the fact, but to my knowledge, back in '77, when Mr. Donald Boughton took office and Mary Ann Dayhill was elected as city clerk, all city clerks have typically been a figurehead for the city, an elected position. Mary Ann Dayhill was the city clerk, with Mary Rickert actually being the assistant. When Betty Crudgington took office, it was Betty Crudgington, city clerk, and Jametta Samaha being the actual working city clerk. And now I am probably the first one who is the city clerk who has actual knowledge of what the city clerk is supposed to be doing. And when Ms. Samaha left the position of assistant city clerk, I assumed the position and have been doing the duties. The office was restructured at that time, back in '66, when the assistant city clerk retired, and it was restructured by the council, and I'm actually proud to admit that everything seems to be working out fine. Originally it was done on a trial basis, and the council elected to keep the part-time assistant format, so full-time city clerk, part-time assistant. Part-time workers not only give this job or give more flexibility to the job, but it, as you all know, saves the city money, thus no benefits. So you're only paying an hourly salary. And in this time, especially when the mayor is putting a freeze on almost all of our spending, I think it has worked out well.
Okay. Al Robinson is here with us, and you must have, you showed the first clip. You must have your own perspective on this.
Yeah, first of all, I want to apologize for bringing the clip a little late. I was still in the editing process. Took a little longer than expected, but at least we have it for us to watch here and see.
Oh, by the way, by the way. People can see the entire.
This video is from a show called Danbury Live, which is on public access on Saturdays at 7 o'clock and at Tuesday at 11 a.m. I don't think it's going to be coming up this week. I think they have something else going on, but I'm sure that if you look on the bulletin board of Channel 23, they'll let you know when this particular show.
Can they also see it on Hat City Blog?
They can see it also on Hat City Blog.
One of the most popular blogs in the Northeast.
Shameless plug.
Which also has vintage footage of George Carlin, may he rest in peace. I thought that was very good on the blog as well.
Sad.
All right, let's get back.
And it's also going to be on your website as well after the show. But
now, can I say this before you start? I criticize the Democrats and the Republicans. So this lady actually has not watched my show until today. So I just want to make it clear. I'm very critical with the Democrats because I feel that they're not doing their jobs. But anyway, let's get back to the show. What do you think of...
If you talk to people at City Hall, this is not a partisan matter because I hear people from both sides of the political aisle who have criticisms about the present city clerk.
This present city clerk, okay.
And pertaining to Helena, when she goes out and does certain events during her tenure, it had nothing to do with like going out and doing weddings and stuff during the daytime hours during the week, as this current city clerk does, when she's not around to help out the citizens of Danbury who have questions. One of the biggest problems that we saw last week during the public portion of this charter revision meeting, that people have a problem in which the city clerk is unavailable. This is nothing new. I spoke last week on this show when I personally went to the Register of Voters office looking for information on a referendum that was happening during the primary so I can post it up on my site. The individual who helped me out in the Register of Voters office was the city clerk. And I do not think at $48,000 a year the city clerk should be down there helping me out in the Register of Voters office. It's quite simple. You should be available at all times at the city clerk's office during normal hours, not at 8 o'clock at night. Let's say 11 o'clock in the a.m. Lynn Waller, Margaret Mitchell, other individuals of the public came forward and said this. This is nothing new. The Democrats have been complaining for a number of years, requesting that they're having a full-time assistant city clerk to help out the city clerk because a lot of information that they're trying to get from the city clerk they're not getting. This is nothing new. You can go to my website. You can see numerous examples during the Democratic Town Committee meetings where the minority leader of the Common Council has stated this to the public, that look, we are not getting our information. We don't know how many outstanding ad hoc committees there are. There's a lot of information that we're not getting from the city clerk because the city clerk is just not available or not giving us the information in a timely manner.
Where is the assistant city clerk?
The assistant city clerk was the last assistant. Well, there's a difference. She says she has assistants. Right. It's a lot different from an assistant city clerk. An assistant city clerk is, if I'm correct, has the same authority as the city clerk if the city clerk is not available. So a little different than having just an assistant there. The last assistant city clerk, I think, is Jametta Samaha, who left in, I would think, 02 or 03. I'm not quite sure, but
is Mary Foley an assistant city clerk?
No,
or she
is an assistant.
So she's not an assistant city clerk?
She's not an assistant city clerk. She cannot, if I'm correct, she cannot assume the responsibilities as city clerk if the city clerk is not there.
Can she perform weddings?
Well,
because maybe she could fill in.
Maybe she can fill in for the weddings and help things out.
Split it.
Because I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Last week when Mary called, she says she's there, and well.
Well, I guess she's a little confused. Like a lot of individuals at City Hall, they're a little confused about what their positions are. But she is not an assistant city clerk. That's one of the problems we have right now. Is that
because if she is, she would have to pass the test, like we said earlier.
Well, it's a civil service position, so you're required to take an exam.
And then be appointed.
Right.
So technically, she's not that.
Well, you know, you had mentioned about people being notified of the ad hoc committee meetings that haven't been held yet. Jametta used to do schedules and hand them out to the council members so that they were aware of who had not scheduled an ad hoc committee meeting, and so they could do something about it, because at the end of the term, then the ad hocs are basically wiped out if the committees are not being held. They can be removed, and they don't have to be heard at that point until they're brought back onto the agenda of the council.
Okay. Now, we have a call. Caller, you're in the air.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm curious as to what happened. Originally, there was the Civil Service Commission, and now it says these jobs are picked by the mayor. And what happened to the commission? Is that gone now?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No, the civil service jobs are still in the city. There are certain positions that are appointed by the mayor, like all of his staff in his office. Those are appointed by the mayor. But there are several positions that you have to fill out an application. Then they advise you as to when the exam is. You take the exam, and normally the top candidates' names are referred to the mayor, and then the mayor can select one to take the position.
Okay. We want to see the next clip. So can you please roll the next clip?
No one to just have one person knowing the job, whether it's just me, somebody in the past, or somebody in the future. If something happens to that one person, who's the loser but the city? And let me interject. In December of '06, I had only been an acting city clerk for like 6 months when I fell and I broke my femur bone, and I was in Bethel Home Health Care for like close to 3 months. Not a fun place to be. Okay, although I had a laptop and was checking messages every day, doing work from the Bethel Home Health Care, they actually had to hire someone to, come in and do some of the work. We were very fortunate that we had someone who picked up my workload in the city. But is that going to happen again? Not necessarily. We need to ensure that if no matter who is in that position, whether it's a city clerk, whether it's a full-time assistant city clerk, there can never, ever be one person in that job. One person who holds the city hostage, or only one person who knows what those job responsibilities are. You need a situation such as we have right now, the elected city clerk and a part-time assistant, two people who know that job.
2 people.
I do believe that you have to have someone who is part-time working in that office, because if the city clerk is going with the mayor to an event, who's staying in that office? You need to have someone there available so that public can go in, not just the public, but our council members who are appointed and as the legislative body of the city if they need any information. So I do think that you have to have another person in there, but I do believe it's a part-time position.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
Jean said earlier on that in December of '06, she was only an acting city clerk for just a couple of months. Now, if my understanding is correct, she was elected city clerk in 2003.
Yes.
So, is she giving I guess she's trying to give the impression that the position of city clerk was a figurehead position until the assistant city clerk was gone. And actually, the assistant city clerk did all the work, and the city clerk did nothing. Now, as a former city clerk, do you take offense by that?
I do take offense. I think.
But do you think she said because she was sick?
No. I'll tell you. The person who was in the office as the assistant city clerk, she knew everything about that job. She knew exactly what she needed to do with the council members and everything else. And she handled practically everything in that office. But if someone came in for research or they needed something, I was more than happy to do it, and I would do it for them, and I would get whatever anyone needed on the council. And that's really the responsibility of the city clerk, to make sure that she has that information. If someone comes in for an ordinance or a statute or whatever, you have to provide them with that information. But I'll tell you, the assistant city clerk that was in that position did an outstanding job. She knew that job. She'd been there for years.
The question is this: in '06, for about 6 months, she was sick. But she said she was still doing her job while she was at the Bethel Healthcare.
It was for.
Was she acting in that position for 6 months because she wasn't?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't 6 months. It was almost 3 months.
Okay, 3 months. I'm sorry.
Yes, she was city clerk at that time. You're the city clerk. I mean, if she's out, then there's no city clerk. I mean, she just stated that there was no assistant city clerk. Beforehand, if, let's say, for instance, if Jametta was there, Jametta would take up the role as, the city clerk. Or as assistant city clerk, she can take up the responsibilities of that per the charter. But there was no more assistant city clerk, therefore you know, she was forced to do the role of city clerk. She said in the video that she had her computer, she was checking her emails, checking the website, and all that stuff.
Okay,
and might I add,
she's arguing to have an assistant, right? A full-time assistant.
No, a part-time. Right? No,
well, part-time, full-time. She says she needs help. Why, if she is, why isn't the common council appoint someone to help her?
Well, they have. I mean, there's someone in there helping her now, from what I understood last week.
But my understanding, that person is just an assistant, not an assistant city clerk. She's just helping out. That's what you just stated, right?
Right. This was an assistant. In order to have, if my understanding is correct about the charter, the assistant city clerk is appointed by the common council. The city clerk cannot appoint an assistant city clerk.
So why is she the question is, why is she telling the charter revision commission that that she needs help, instead of going to the common council and ask for somebody to come and help her out?
Well, all I can say is
that is true. The Charter Revision Commission really doesn't have anything to do with the assistant. That's a civil service position.
Because this is a Republican majority.
Correct. She would go before the council and ask for help for that office.
Okay. We have 2 phone calls. Caller in the air.
Yes?
Yes, go ahead.
This is Jean. I just wanted to, first of all, in defense of Helena, from what I understand, this is not about what Helena did in the past or did not do. We're talking about the current town clerk at the moment and what she's doing. And really, I think this whole issue boils down to one word, and that's transparency. As far as this issue is concerned, if she's not posting the notices of certain ad hoc committees that are vital to public knowledge in time for the public to really know and to be able to be there and observe, if she, even certain common council members do not know, when these things are happening. This is really about transparency. And then to hear that she is talking about not posting public notices in the news times anymore, that is very, very disconcerting. I mean, the City Hall doesn't want us to be knowledgeable about what's happening.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. We're going to roll another clip.
Okay.
Could you roll the next clip, please?
All council members receive a weekly email regarding all of their meetings booked for the council chambers and the caucus rooms, in addition to the written notice that they receive if they're on an ad hoc committee. An ad hoc, for those of you who don't meet, are like subcommittee members meetings. There's generally several ad hoc meetings every month and there's 3 people on that committee. So I have to notify those 3 people, plus all involved, generally corporation counsel, the people who has submitted that letter to the council. It may be the mayor, it may be outside, it may be another corporation council, it might be a department head. So all these people have to be noticed through the mail. Let's see, forgive me, if all council members receive this weekly email in addition to the written notice.
Okay. What do you have to say about that one?
Well, that one is very informative because she stated in that clip that she sends out an email to every single member of the Common Council about meetings that happen for the next week. Now, if that is the case, what happened to the Hispanic Center ad hoc committee meeting, and why wasn't that added in that email? And again, like as I stated last week, she stated that the notification for the Hispanic Center ad hoc came after she sent the email, and I say to that, it's very easy to give a revision to that email saying, look, there's another ad hoc that was added to that event. Public notification, also in 2007, there was a grant agency ad hoc committee meeting that was done. Somebody filed a Freedom of Information complaint with the city of Danbury and the city clerk saying that the notice for that particular meeting was not done 24 hours prior to the meeting. And the person who filed the complaint won against the city of Danbury and the city clerk. In other words, the city clerk was found in violation of FOI.
Okay.
These are problems.
Okay.
And you just can't say that. You just can't say that you just did the bare minimum in terms of informing people of a meeting, which you just put out a posting outside of City Hall and put out a posting in front of the Common Council chambers. We live in the 24th century. You should be able to do stuff on email, do stuff on the internet. And as Jane Diggs said during the Common Council meeting, that she checked the city website, and she didn't see that ad hoc committee for the Hispanic Center on the city website. So, and that's a Republican saying this, and I'm not trying to be partisan here, but I'm just saying it's about transparency.
We have more clips.
Go ahead.
Could you guys roll the other clip, please?
Number one, we do such a disservice to our community by having this office be called the city clerk's office. Do you know why? Because everybody in Danbury, in Florida, in Mexico, anybody who calls me thinks I am the town clerk. They're constantly calling me about birth certificates. Where can I get my deed? I have people leaving messages on my machine saying, "Hi, this is Johnny Johnson. I'm in Florida. I cannot make my court date with the judge. Will you please tell the judge that I'm unable to be there at 10 o'clock? And I'm thinking to myself, good God, what do I do for this person? And I'm sure the people in the past who've been in this office have gone through. Betty has gone. I know Betty Crutchington, God love her, said the same thing. She says, on a daily basis, I receive a minimum of 20 calls. Some people from all over the country asking for information about the town clerk. They think clerk. I've gone as far as getting the supervisor from the telephone company saying, good God, please tell me why you're giving my number out to everybody. They said, you know what? You're the C clerk. You come up before the T clerk. So we give out your number. I says, please stop this. She says, it probably won't happen. I begged them, take me out of the phone book. You know why? People are calling long distance to my office for a town clerk. You know what? It's almost a blow to my ego. Nobody really wants the city clerk. They're looking for the town clerk, okay? Let's face it. They don't want me. In all fairness to them, they're spending money, and I have to tell them that now I have to transfer them to the town clerk. And in most cases, they're so busy, particularly on a Monday, that they get put into a message center anyway. We need to change this name for everybody's sake. It's not fair to the people, whether it be legislative clerk, whether it be common council clerk. I don't really care what you call it, but it needs another name. Please.
Presentation.
Look, you see that lady, like the black-haired lady laughing? Anyway, hey, listen, man. Look, maybe we should raise her salary. She's getting calls from for other offices.
Ivan,
what happened to 311?
Ivan, do you know how many city clerks there are in this country? Do you know how many city clerks there are in this country that call city clerk? Here's the former city clerk. She can tell you about these phone calls.
We used to get lots of calls for the clerk of the court. Yes, we did.
Okay, let's not even entertain that. Next clip, please. Next clip.
I think it's the final one.
Changing the requirement for the publishing of ordinances. People, we really have to do something. I just went down and I checked with Chick, and just between my office and the planning commission, planning department, I have spent within the 2 years $26,000. They have spent $56,000. That's not to say about what the town clerk spends, what the legal. This is absolutely ludicrous to be publishing these ordinances in our newspaper. The only people that are benefiting is the News Times. And on top of that, we have to deal with their arrogance. I am trying to get these down to be as cost-effective as possible, and no matter what I do to shorten them up, they will turn around and say they're not readable, and they put them in, obviously, because it benefits the News Times to make them as large as possible, with the most space as possible, and we are at their mercy. We need to change this. I don't care how you structure it, whether we put
Okay, the arrogance of the News Times. It is the law. It has to be published. The arrogance of her. But anyway,
I guess also one of the things you have to take in consideration that if there are other ways to inform the public about legal notices and ordinances that are not being done by the city clerk, such as put it up on the city website. If you want to do something like that, there are sent out emails to people who register on the sign up on the email list, mailing list, informing them of new ordinances or anything that's happening or things like that. I don't know if that's a state statute or not. You might know this. You're from Ridgefield. That Do you have to put ordinances in, let's say, in the Ridgefield Press?
Yeah, you do, like when you publish budgets and ordinances and things
that a
like
state
that.
statute?
Yeah, it's, well, I would assume it's a state statute.
If it's a state statute, then it's irrelevant what she's saying, then I meant.
Right.
You have to publish it.
But she's right. I mean, there's reams, and you have to pay for that. I mean, these newspapers aren't going to do that as a public service.
It's our money. Don't you think we should be informed with our money?
Well, yeah, okay. Now, okay, by a show of hands, who at this table has sat down and actually read reams and reams of these? Okay, one.
I've looked at it.
I have not.
That's not
and the cameraman has. Well, maybe I'm odd man out, but when I see these things published in the paper,
we have a call. Let's take the last call.
One quick thing, though. It's still irrelevant towards the people she was speaking to because it's a state statute. If it's a state statute, it's irrelevant. You have to do it.
Exactly. Okay, caller, you're in there.
Well, how are you folks doing tonight?
Good, thank you.
I do want to make a comment, please.
Go ahead.
In the past, whenever I've needed information and I have called Mrs. Natale, she has returned my telephone calls, and that's about the size of my comment. Good show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well,
you know, it's
supported.
She's doing the job.
It's
we have 1 minute. Let's take the last call. Sorry. Caller, you're in the air.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. 30 seconds, 10 seconds.
Yes, I'd like to ask one question. How would any one of you people change, how would you...
Hurry up.
What's the amount of money that we have to pay for all this advertising?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it is very expensive.
It is.
Is that Miss Marciano?
It's very costly with regards to publicly putting these in the newspaper. You have to publish them. But the thing is, it's a law. You don't have a choice. You have to do it.
Okay, we have to go. It's a law. We don't have a choice. We have to do it. And I know that we have spent money on frivolous stuff. I would rather spend money publishing ordinances than give it away to people who just don't do nothing with the money.
Mrs. Natale, stay at your post. You're doing a good job. Don't let these guys drum you out of town.
No, wait.
Sounds like a pretty thankless position. Hang in
not
there.
those guys.
David Capriello is going to be on the show next week. David Capriello is going to be on the show next week. And I'm going to tell you this one thing. You will see more Republicans and Democrats appear on the show after, after today than any other times. But you know, let's have an open process, open dialogue, and let's get this thing right. Let's hold these people accountable, hypocrites, politicians. Let's hold them accountable. And see you later.